Egyptian alliance between them and Pergamon have stood for hundreds of years. However, today it will be tested in this brutal online siege battle on Total War Rome 2. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to another glorious online siege battle. I mean, just look at that amazing battle line right there. That is something to be tested, and it will be tested in today's online siege battle. I was told that this was a very competitive battle, kind of like a tournament scenario, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the players do approach this. Hopefully some high level tactics that we can see at taking this settlement, because right now they are all assaulting from this initial wall, and it's going to be pretty bloody for the attackers. Obviously, as the attackers, you want to try and come from different angles and try and approach the settlement and really stretch out the defenders, but obviously, you know, they've got their plan and they are obviously all really good players, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they do approach a settlement like this, you know, how they're going to go ahead and achieve that. You can see they're going for a pretty deadly iron wall of siege towers there to defend the front line, and we'll have to see how that does pay out, because there's going to be a lot of javelins. As the defenders, we do actually have not Egypt, sorry, I messed that up in the intro. Egypt are attacking. We have Syracuse and Pergamon, so two kind of Greek colonies out there under attack. And obviously one of the great things about Pergamon is their access to these Galatian swordsmen. Very high melee attack, very high weapon damage. Obviously not the strongest on the defense, but you know, when you're obviously charging out of a siege tower and faced with these guys, it's going to be pretty bloody. Going up against them, we do have the Geti, who are basically the Dacians, and we also have the Egyptians. There they are, an artillery piece just ransacked about 6 or 7 Egyptian warriors. That was a brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. However, you know, their forces are going to be pushing forward, and they're going to obviously have the decent setup with infantry. They have a lot of these Numidian bowmen who are hanging back, obviously going to bide their time before overcommitting. Going to want to have a bit more of a beachhead with their infantry, supported by these Dacian heavy bowmen. So a lot of decent long-range archers. They're going to be faced, obviously, with some of the best missiles that Greece have to offer. We have, obviously, the Balearic slingers, supported probably by Cretan archers scattered around. And one of my favorite defenses, we have a lot of them. As you can see off in the distance, a lot of burning bulls, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I hope so badly that we get back to this stage and they just let off ball after ball after ball after ball, and it just decimates the attackers. You know, we haven't really got a good set of flaming bulls recently, so yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that one will pan out. Also, if we take a look for the forces of Pergamon, we have a lot of just low tier archers here, and obviously they're just going to be trying to put in a lot of shots into the attackers as they come up this hill. And there we go, the first couple siege towers are now arriving for the Geti, and they have their noble spear warriors right up here. They're going to be the first units through the breach, taking the first couple javelins from the Galatian swords right there from Pergamon. And again, I definitely understand, like, most of the time you generally want to have swords fighting for the walls, obviously. But I can definitely tell what exactly they are going for with these spear warriors. They want to create more of a bridgehead with these spears, and spears are obviously going to achieve that much more than the Galatian swords. If, for example, the defenders were defending the entire wall with infantry on that, then you would probably expect to see more swords in these siege towers. But because we do have the armored spearmen from the Geti, they're looking to basically just absorb this missile fire, which is going to be coming in, and obviously a heavier spear unit's going to be doing a bit more of that effectively. And then you also want to be able to have more of a defensive battle line, which again, these spears will be able to achieve. They're not going to be able to kill these Galatian swords as effectively. They're going to get stuck in that little bit better, which is going to be nice for them, rather than, say, swords. So I definitely, you know, completely understand how they've set up like that. Oh, we also have some Agman spears as well. Obviously a special unit for Pergamon. Looking very cool as they've got them javelins out. Yeah, one of the most brutal things for these forces is definitely dealing with them. We also have some mercenary Samnite warriors as the battle insert just takes me really far away. But as you can see, the battle lines have now clashed, as we can slow down the camera a bit. I'll slow down my turning as well, so we can get some really nice cinematic shots. It's been way too long since I've last done this, so let's again just turn this down. I used to do this all the time, and I definitely just like stopped doing it, because I mean, it looks amazing, right, when you get the nice cinematic shots like that. I actually got really good at doing these shots. You can always just speed things up as well with the click of shift. That definitely helps out. Take me a little while to get back into this. And as you can see, this is a fairly long replay as well, so You know, the battle isn't just won or lost at the walls. I would imagine there is definitely a back and forth. And we can't obviously see everything the attackers do have at their disposal, or the defenders, because the attackers are obviously the faction that we can see. If we go back down the battle line, we speed up the camera a little bit. We can see a bit more about the battles, and oh my god, look at that wall right there. That is a very, very aggressive battle line, and as you can see, there have been a lot more reinforcements thrown forward. Oh my god, look at that. There is a lot of infantry here ready to push forward, and this is just a 2 versus 2 as well. Generally, I don't like to do too many 2 versus 2s because the battles just aren't as large scale as I would like. However, when they're in more of a competitive setting, I'm more than happy to do kind of smaller scale battles. Generally, I want 2v2 large army battles and also, you know, 3v3s. However, you know, when they are more competitive, I'm happy to go and take them on. And as you can see, the Thorax swordsmen for Egypt are doing a number on these Galatian swords. They're kind of just completely outclassed in this fight, and they are going to be ended up getting broken through here. And that's obviously what Egypt is doing their main job. The Geti are supposed to hold the Galatians in at bay, and then these Thorax swords come in and just cut them to pieces, cut them to ribbons. But we also have some Thorax hoplites back here, so obviously, you know, both these Greek powers have access to them elite swordsmen. So I'm sure we'll be seeing them throughout the battlefield. And if we take a nice little overview of the battle, it does seem the main assault is coming down this bottom half of the settlement and kind of leaving this top half basically completely alone, which is very interesting. I mean, again, they don't really have to commit to breaking through here. However, it is going to tunnel them down, and I'm assuming we're going to get Pergamon probably committing, you know, a lot more of these soldiers over here, further back, and continue to push on. Because as you can see on this side, there's only basically 3 ways out of this defensive position. You have the wave obviously through here, you have this position right here which you can run through, and then you have this kind of smaller path up here, which I really love the way that Syracuse has set up their Balearic slingers back here. It looks amazing. They've got a very nice overview of the battlefield, and I'm sure they'll be racking up some kills in the future. Unfortunately, not fired a stone quite yet, but I'm imagining very, very soon they will be. And as you can see, a lot of these Syracusan forces are being broken by the Geti. They've got some heavier mercenary axe warriors here, which are obviously going to be great at killing these Furious spears and anything else. However, taking this tower is going to be #1 priority, and if this unit dies trying to achieve that, that is probably a sacrifice they are willing to make. Definitely, as they commit more and more men. And look at that archer fire coming in. This is exactly what the Geti want them to do. They want them to bulk up a little bit here and just hammer them with their missiles in the side, in the back, and they've managed to nullify this tower with infantry coming around. And this really is going to show just the sheer money advantage the attackers obviously get in these battles. They generally get 20%, or 25%, sorry, more funds than the defenders, to obviously give them that ability to kind of make up for the disadvantage that they do face. And they generally will have, you know, a lot better soldiers or just a lot more soldiers to charge forward. And I always feel like spending that money on extra archers is always such a good buy, because for their, you know, their cost, their output of damage is so amazing. But again, you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you do run out of that infantry. And right now, Pergamon are being very defensive. They don't want to give up their position here and commit more men over here, because they've got a lot of room. If you take a look at the settlement, they have a lot of room to fall back to, you know, a lot more defensive positions that they can hold up of. They even have reserves back here, you know, in case anything does try to come around. They have a unit of cavalry back there, and they can always just launch it out as well. You can see the Geti are taking a lot of the pressure from this assault. However, things are going in their favor. They are breaking through, at least on that right side. And then we obviously have the Thorax swordsmen doing a pretty decent job here. However, the Galatian swords are making their way around the flank, and I imagine we're either going to get a brutal javelin volley here into the side of the Egyptians, or we're going to get a pretty devastating charge which will kill a handful of them. And then the damage will begin to continue to rack up over and over again. Also, guys, let me know in the comments as well if you do enjoy the oh yeah, you can see that javelin throw coming in, exactly what we're saying. Do let me know if you enjoy the new music. It's kind of hard to hear, obviously, with all the battle sounds, but it is on in the background. I'm using the Assassin's Creed soundtrack. In the background, there's a really cool Modern Workshop So yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed it, if you prefer this. It's always nice to mix things up over our traditional Rome 2. And oh my god, the Arch of Fire coming in right there and immediately being brought up. I mean, that is pretty insane. Look at that, man. The amount of archers, that is a truly epic siege. As you can just see the siege towers. Oh baby, that looks amazing. Look at that. That's awesome. That really, really is. As you can just see the Egyptians in the distance, the Galatians taking cover behind that awesome defensive wall. And that will protect them from a lot of the incoming missile fire. And you can see immediately the infantry on the archers changing their focus. As you can see a lot of missile fire going back and forth. Now, you know, that's going to be the problem of having this two double defensive line. Your second line is going to take a lot more damage. However, this is playing, obviously, you know, vice versa as well. The mercenary Balearic Slingers can now start to shoot into the noble swords, which is the perfect unit to really rack up kills on them with their high armor. They obviously have, you know, what, 80 armor. Balearic Slingers have great armor piercing, so they're going to be firing into the sides here and doing some decent damage. And again, this Samnite Mercenary Warrior unit, I'm pretty sure is fairly cheap, so that's going to be doing very nice. As you can see, the Dacians fighting pretty heavily against the forces of Syracuse, and now we're seeing more reinforcements brought around. And even for the most part, these Thorax hoplites have done a very good job at holding, you know, and now the Pergamon infantry are now coming around as well, looking to reinforce. So, you know, they are containing. The defenders are doing a great job. They're obviously losing ground, but they're also doing an amazing job here at taking on the enemies. And now you can start to see Pergamon, you know, really kind of realizing that. I'm sure they're talking. They can see kind of the shifting in the infantry for both Egypt and Dacia or Galatia. Oh, wow, we actually saw a cavalry sally out there. I missed that until just now. Coming in and I think killing some archers, which was a really nice move there. I actually missed that. And that's probably why the army is shifting over. But I also assume they're probably going to be wanting to reinforce this section of the battlefield pretty heavily. You can see some of the infantry being moved up. The Galatian swordsmen being advanced up here. Also a bit of Galatian swordsmen from both sides there. From Egypt and from Pergamon. But yeah, seeing that there's not really going to be a lot over here, they can actually, you know, shift their defense a bit further over to the other parts of the settlement. And I'm assuming that's going to be exactly the same as well. A lot of these javelins being wasted, unfortunately. These guys not being on fire at will, or being on fire at will, is really punishing them there. But the next layer of reinforcements and quickly, rapidly advancing these men is going to be huge. Having this missile fire focusing down the Galatian swords is very important. And even having the Egyptian swords chasing them down as well is going to be very nice. However, we are seeing more archers being brought up from Pergamon, which is going to be pretty deadly. You can see Syracuse taking back this tower as well, which again is very nice. Obviously, switching this tower back and forth is fairly deadly. So being able to secure this one and having it fire back for you is going to, again, just slow up the attackers bit by bit. And I'm not sure if they were playing with a timer in this battle. But again, timer is definitely something to think about. And I think, unfortunately, they didn't manage to capture it. So this tower will continue to be shooting into the back of these mercenary Samnite warriors. And you are seeing the defenses basically being completely broken up. A lot of missile fire coming in on these noble swords. And if we take a look at the kills as well, it's probably a fair dozen. Yeah, over 143 on these Balearic Slingers already, which is fairly deadly. Unfortunately, though, these Thorax hoplites are going to be getting caught off as a lot of javelin fire comes in from the reinforcement Agna spears. But as I was saying, unfortunately, these Thorax hoplites are getting caught out a little bit, being attacked from both sides. They're going to pull out of that, realizing that that is the case. Just fall back to a bit more of a defensive position, probably in between this area, somewhere where they can't be as easily outflanked, I would imagine. And Egypt is just trying to close the distance as quickly as possible so that that missile fire and them javelins can't do as effectively as they are doing. A lot of archer fire going in, and obviously trying to focus down the archers from Pergamon, and you can see they're quickly getting out of dodge there, realizing that they maybe stepped a bit too close to the sun there, just like Icarus, and they are fleeing. You know, that missile fire is brutal, and I think that's what's really going to save this attack for the attackers is that missile fire. Because it could just do some serious damage. Obviously taking these towers as well, that really racks up kills over time. And starts to put pressure on the defenders a little bit just to fall back and get out of range of that missile fire. And as you can see, it's not like the defenders really have like a ton of men left. They still have, you know, fairly, you know, a decent defense obviously, but they are running low, and their reserves are having to fall back and take up refuge a little bit further into the settlement. And that's why I'm hoping this Death Trap of Bulls will just smother the defenders. And we are now seeing the cavalry being brought out of the city, looking to go do some harassment. This is definitely like a commander unit, some Navy SEALs moving out, looking to set up traps and diversions behind enemy lines. Man, how cool would that be if you had like a unit in Rome 2 that were like, were like a commanding special unit, which went behind enemy lines and set up booby traps and destroyed bridges. Oh man, that'd be so cool. That'd be really, really cool, man. If only one day, one day, that'd be dope. You can see the infantry in the distance there just flooding into the city. So this cavalry is going to be pretty important. I can't imagine the defenders will give up their archers effectively. They will be forming this solid box around them. But even still, that's going to take its toll on the attackers. As the battle gets further and further on, the archers just aren't going to have as much defense. And as we said, they are very, very crucial to this battle. Another unit of swords got stuck in a pretty cool engagement popping off there. Oh my god, taking a flaming arrow to the back as well. Brutal stuff. I think that was friendly fire as well, as this tower is controlled by the Egyptians. Another archer volley sinking its teeth deep into these unarmored Galatian swords. Another archer volley, again racking up them kills. However, having to fall back a little bit as, the retaliation starts to come in. So this does give them a pretty good opportunity, but I don't necessarily like. This is obviously where the main defense is setting up now for the defenders. They've, pushed their defenders back a little bit. They've got archers kind of covering these choke points. And they've got also archers up on this left side if the defenders try and maybe push up any of these siege towers a little bit closer. However, the attackers don't really have to go through this area. They can very much make their way up through this ramp, obviously avoiding these burning bulls, take this tower down, and then kind of come at it from a different angle. Again, they're going to take a little bit more missile fire due to these other towers. Oh, can they not get down here? Oh, they can't actually get down from this position. Okay, very interesting. However, they can take this position to push back the defenders. Obviously, making your way up here, they can then utilize this defensive barrier here to fire down on the attackers in the central point here and, force them back to that inner layer, giving them the ability to continue to move up. As you can see, the balance of power is still very, very even. Down here in this bottom left-hand corner, so that's always great to see at this stage, as the battle really devolves. And I mean, just take a look at these casualties. That is pretty insane. Yeah, I mean, take a look at them casualties on the walls. That is, yeah, they definitely bled. Both sides bled for sure in this battle. And obviously I want to give a big shout out as the battle is kind of in its middle stages right now to all the players who played in this battle. I really appreciate the replays. Keep them coming as you guys seem to really be enjoying Rome 2. And hopefully you guys continue to really enjoy it as more scenarios, tournament battles, and all that interesting stuff alongside DEI. And obviously also Troy as well. I've got big hopes for Troy. Hopefully, it's got that fantasy element in it, but I'm interested to see how they're going to do the combat in Troy, as obviously that's going to be probably the main focus of the game is going to be combat. So I'm personally looking forward to it. Hopefully we can see some exciting stuff. And oh my god, look at this. Pergamon are fleeing back to the burning bulls to set these ablaze. Are they going to be able to get them off in time? I think they're going to just go up in a really ridiculous... yeah, unless you kind of attack... Oh, this one's going off though. Oh, yeah, here we go. He's chasing them down the hill. Look at that. That's hilarious. Unfortunately, though, I don't think it's going to find its mark. Running through here, and I think it's going to hit that. Yeah, oh, man, these burning bulls came so close. More are going to be set ablaze. But I think you have to, like, really position the way you shoot them. Actually killing a lot of their own friendly men there. Yeah, actually killing a lot of their own friendly men there. And then burning bulls are going to be made pretty useless, unfortunately. And the Egyptians are going to be able to just move up into this position, conquer down the tower. And then obviously get the rest of their infantry inside the settlement. So what I'm probably going to do, unless there's some more crazy action, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit of the replay, just until I imagine Egypt have brought their army inside. If there is any major action, I'll bring it back immediately so you guys don't miss a thing. Okay, so the Egyptians have brought the majority of their army inside of the settlement. Actually, I take that back. They brought in their entire army into the settlement, and now they are going to push in. We do have some Pergamon units obviously defending these towers because they can be a real thorn in the side of the attackers. Also, this does put them in place here for archer fire, and that's actually, I think, going to beat them back a little bit. Obviously, they're going to form up a little bit more frontally to these missiles, so a very nice back and forth right there. Because some people may just think that this unit is being sacrificed by just being out here. It's going to get surrounded. The defenders are going to keep on moving up, but no. They're basically acting as something here to keep the tower alive and also allow these archers to really rack up some casualties. We are seeing the Egyptians playing this kind of slow though, only having a couple units of Fourier Spearmen here. Going to be trying to scare off these archers as well as take the city centre. And by taking the city centre, it's going to give them that little morale bonus as well. And nicely, they do have these Numidian bowmen as well, covering this section of the battlefield. So if anything does come rushing down to maybe try and outflank, they will be able to punish that. We do still have the cavalry outside the settlement, but again, we have to be kind of cautious about that. And the rest of the Egyptian forces just moving up slowly with Bugatti in reserve. So yeah, the attackers don't have a ton left, but neither do the defenders. And I think this battle could definitely go either way. And it's going to really come down to this archer fire. As you can see, the Egyptians falling back just a little bit as well. Probably going to wait until these bowmen are up here so that they can counter shoot. They've also burnt this tower, which I think is a pretty smart move. By burning this tower, you basically acknowledge that you're not really going to be able to break through these Agamemnon spearmen anytime soon. So you're better off just burning it down and then trying to deal with this unit. Because you can obviously get a nice little outflank by using the walls and by abusing that tower as well. You can actually bring these guys down fairly quickly, obviously with that surround and yeah, bring them down. So we might even see some infantry being brought round to stop that from happening, because holding this position is pretty decent. However, with the amount of archer fire left from the Numidian bowmen, it's going to be difficult to kind of keep archers and basically anything in this area, because they can really rack out a large amount of kills. And I think right now these archers are trying to waste maybe some ammunition by dodging, ducking, diving, dodging and ducking. I don't know what the 5Ds of dodgeable are, but either way, they're probably trying to achieve that. Yeah, you can see they're just running around, basically trying to make them waste some ammunition, get some shots off of their own. And as you can see, as soon as the fire is coming back, so a bit micro-intensive, and you can definitely avoid stuff like that from happening. I'm surprised we are seeing the units charged in against this unit of Agamemnon spearmen. I wouldn't be surprised if we, like, just put a defensive one here and really push into this section. But again, you have to be pretty careful, as the defenders are looking pretty scary. And I really like the way that the Egyptian players are just, punishing these Galatian swords as they retreat back. They obviously don't want to give up this central piece. And we also now do have some citizen cavalry being brought in as the archers are being brought off. So you can see a lot of this reactionary play. And yeah, the Egyptians are now utilizing the walls to get around the side and now finally deal with these spearmen who have been fairly annoying. As I think both sides are going to be needing to utilize a lot of their men. And oh my god, just look at the death in this corridor. That's pretty insane. And it does seem like the Gati are just holding back now, getting all their men back up to fresh before moving in. And yeah, you are having these guys retreat back now. Some javelins coming in as well. And they just want to basically keep them in place, surround this unit. Because obviously they are spearmen. They're obviously going to be nowhere near as strong when they do get hit from that flank. When they do get hit from the side. Or from the rear, I should say. And nobody likes to get hit from the rear. Let me tell you. From personal experience. And it does seem like Pergamon are kind of admitting defeat here. However, they are making good progress. The Egyptians are getting pretty close to breaking. And yeah, without the reinforcements, I wonder why these guys are just sitting back. Hopefully we haven't had a desync. It didn't say that the replay was out of date or anything. So hopefully the Galatians are just simply sitting back in reserve, making sure they're keeping their men out of missile range or anything along those lines. I do kind of feel like the defenders, though, have a very good chance, but the balance of power is still very even. Like, I feel like the defenders have a very nice defense, but I guess they only do have, what, like 6 units of infantry? So it's kind of pretty even. On that front, at least. We get some cavalry piling as well. Yeah, we did get some cavalry piling in. So the citizen cavalry are going to be looking to try and add that shock value to this fight. breaking a handful of them. Some javelins scaring off a few of these horses. They just have that missile fire, some javelins going off, which I think is actually pretty decent. Taking out these Balearic Slingers is fine. I imagine these Balearic Slingers are probably out of ammunition right now, so I think both players are happy. Like, this just gets rid of men for the Egyptians, and for the Syracusians, they absorb a decent amount of ammunition, which they obviously don't want on their Galatian swords, but I imagine they're probably just out of range with them bowmen. So killing these guys down is probably pretty good, and if they do have that ammunition, that's even better. And now more infantry is having to be committed as the cavalry come in for another charge. I think maybe we'll get another javelin throw here. They're just going to charge him. I mean, they really need it. There you go. Another javelin throw, killing a handful of horses, but still just not enough. They honestly need this unit of Agamemnon and spears just dealt with, because it's already up to 162 kills. That cavalry coming in as well. That cavalry's probably up to, you know, a decent 100 kills as well. So yeah, things are pretty brutal, yeah, but finally the Galatians are now moving into position. Obviously the Egyptian player called for aid, and the Galatians will, sorry, the Geti will answer. And finally, them spearmen are now dealt with on that left flank. That took a little while, and the defenders definitely prolonged this battle, you know, by tiring out the enemy, used every bit of defense they can. And now with their reinforcements, they can really push into this side. I think we're going to see maybe trying this unit getting scared off. Oh, a nice little charge there on these archers. Able to catch them off guard a little bit and kill a handful of them before they can retreat. And if they can break these guys, that'd be amazing. Again, just adding to that army attrition. However, the Galatian swords are going to move into position to try and stop that from happening, committing their heavier swords to this battle. And the cavalry are going to come in and just charge this poor unit of Phorias spearmen, sending them to the ground, trampling them, and yeah, I imagine they'll be breaking very quickly. We do have a lot more of the infantry moving in. Obviously, probably want to try and secure these towers, scare off this cavalry so it has to go all the way around. But even still, players kind of have to be a bit patient and you know, prepare for that. As the fighting is really committing out here, as the Geti do commit some of their noble swords for the small unit of 20. However, they'll be more than capable. This is like the perfect matchup for them. Just fighting lowly missiles is great, because then they can continue to push, scare off more men, and obviously charge around, and maybe even get a nice little envelopment right there. And even if they absorb some missiles, that's also pretty decent as well. Yeah, taking these towers is going to be great, because it's going to stop the Galatians, it's going to stop Pergamon from getting the citizen cavalry inside the settlement, which is huge. I just don't think the players are going to charge up here. I really hope they do. This is too much of a competitive battle, I think, for the players to really charge up this side. As you can see, both sides still clashing. So now we do have some heavier spears being advanced into the fight. A lot of missile fire still coming in, but now we do have the Numidian bowmen being advanced, and I imagine they'll be mainly focusing down what remains from the missiles, yeah. Immediately going in, focusing down these Balearic Slingers. You probably have a decent amount of ammunition left. They've kind of been held a little bit back in reserve. And that cavalry is now forced to go the entire way around the settlement, all the way over to this side. So it might arrive at the perfect time, but it's going to be very tired. Oh, actually, no, I take that back. There's actually a gate all the way in the rear, so that's pretty nice. Oh my god, this must be brutal to attack. Such a heavy push up the side right there. And we do have some men from Syracuse diving pretty deep in here, actually able to envelop the unit of noble swords, the brave, like 60-man unit that is still fighting to his heart's content. I'm not sure how well they will succeed here, but again, they're probably just mainly here to keep the missiles a little bit closer, who are now looking pretty poor. And yeah, they're going to probably avoid this this bulk of burning balls as best as they can as they continue to advance up more and more infantry. Obviously, you know, hindering a lot of these missiles. And I mean, for the most part, the defenders are not looking that healthy when it does come to missiles. And, sorry, when it comes to infantry, they only have like 1, 2, 3, 4 units of fully strength infantry. I mean, obviously, the same can be said for the attackers, but this is going to be a very, very close showdown in the last 7 minutes of this battle replay. And I think every archer, every available man will have to be committed to this fight. for the winners to come in. And we're even seeing the Egyptian Royal Thorax Swordsman being thrown in and doing a pretty decent job of being committed. But obviously this heavier Thorax Hoplite from Syracuse with defenders doing a pretty nice job as well. Awesome, awesome stuff. Lots of missile fire coming overhead, picking away quite nicely on the Galatians. And there we go. They've managed to secure this side. The archers are now pouring in again, just pushing back the defenders bit by bit. And hopefully we'll get some burning ball action right here, because I don't think the defenders can really avoid these bad boys. But again, just a lot of missile fire from both sides already coming in. And they honestly need to deal with this unit of Thorax hoplites, because right now, some of the Numidian bowmen are getting caught up. And if they have ammunition left, that is really, really bad for them. They are just going to be seizing their way through this gap. But they definitely do need to be careful as the defenders fall back inch by inch. This is going to be one hell of a close battle. Neither side wanting to commit. And at least the archers now can set up here and shoot in. I think they're taking this tower as well, which will help them out. We'll probably see this unit of Thorax being taken care of. Oh, big cavalry charge. Oh, no, my God. Go back, go back, go back. What about cavalry charge? Yes, the cavalry charge. What an amazing last-ditch effort there by the defenders. Getting stuck in on these Numidian bows, as they were left a little bit vulnerable as everything piled in to kill this Syracuse Thorax hoplite unit. And even though they will die, I imagine this cavalry unit racked up, a decent 40 kills. And at this point in the battle, that is huge. What a brave unit of citizen cavalry right there, as they get another good pull-through charge onto this Numidian bowman unit, again killing like 10 men. Very nice indeed. So a pretty awesome large-ditch effort. And also, that's forced the attackers to really clump up their infantry, which is giving these Balearic slingers a perfect opportunity just to pile drive all their shots into the Royal Thorax Swordsman. That is absolutely awesome. Really, really nice stuff. As more and more missile fire comes in. And now you go, the forces are setting up. So yeah, really hardly anything left for both sides. These bowmen are going to be pushed up. Luckily, there's no more cavalry left. But yeah, I mean, this is literally it. Both sides having, what, like 4 units of infantry left apiece and a handful of archers. And you can see Pergamon actually being a bit aggressive. And I think Pergamon could do a very good job here, because I think Egypt will sit back and obviously use that missile fire to their advantage. But I think Pergamon and Syracuse could definitely put the pressure, flip that around. But again, they do still have these towers shooting away, so it's not really like it's the end of the world. And I imagine these Numidian bowmen are now out of ammunition, so I think the defenders will take this battle, honestly, just because of these new defensive positions, having some, decent hoplites back there. And also by, having these towers shooting, a few more Balearic slingers still firing. I think they are going to take this one, but we'll have to see, as the archers are still shooting, breaking some Levy pikemen. Okay, so just some Levy pikemen back here as well. That's a unit that can die very quickly. Yeah, I'm going to side with the defenders in this one, but honestly, it'd be very interesting to see. And please, yeah, here we go. Flame on, boys. Rack up some kills, rack up some kills. No! A swing and a miss. One day, we're going to see these burning bulls just do insane work. Oh, actually, I take that back. They rip through this battle line. And I think that fire really does an amazing job actually breaking these Numidian bowmen. However, because the Galatians are being committed now, yeah, I think this is still doing a lot of damage. That's hilarious. So some did good, some did bad. But the Egyptians are utilizing their numbers and getting around the flank from these Levy pikemen. The Galatian swords are charging in. So we've got, sorry, I keep on calling them Galatians. The Gati swords are moving in against the Agamemnon spears from Pergamon. General v general. And I think the swords will win this. However, you do still have them towers firing down. And by the looks of the timer, it seems like this battle is going to come down to army attrition. I honestly don't know who's going to win this. My hat is still in favor of the defenders. But all of a sudden, you could have the Pergamon general dying to the Gati swords, these pikemen breaking. But I just don't see the Egyptians having enough, especially when they can now just surround this unit of Galatian Royal Guard and bring down the last of their men. So very hard fought battle from both sides. I mean, obviously it's not over yet. I just think some crazy morale stuff would have to happen for this battle to go south for the defenders. And he says defenders never win. In a lot of these battles, defenders normally take it. In these high-level battles, a lot of the attackers are generally at a pretty large disadvantage, as good defenders can really hold the line very, very effectively. And yeah, I think the time is just ticking. The bell has tolled. And having missiles back at this point in the game is just absolutely huge. And we're going to get some Pikemen coming around. We've got some Balearic Slingers shooting the Noble Swords in the back. I think their morale is just going to drop down, even with this unit of Royal Thorax getting stuck in. The Pikes being stuck down. Some Bowmen coming in, last-ditch effort. But it's just not going to be enough, and I think that is going to be all she wrote as the morale drops down. And that's going to be a GG. So a very hard-fought battle from both sides there. Really, really awesome stuff. And again, when battles are that interesting, I don't mind that, it's a bit smaller than we're usually used to seeing. Generally, I do enjoy the larger scale, large armies. But, when battles are competitive and stuff like that, I definitely do accept these smaller scale replays. So big shout out to all these players. They did a very, very good job. And as you can see, you can take a look at the kills right there. So guys, I have also started the Patreon. I should really be mentioning this at the beginning of my video, but I've started back up my Patreon. Next month, we're going to have some really, really cool stuff. So if you are a Patreon, you'll get your name appearing at the end of every one of these videos. And we have a nice little goal there. If we do hit $200 from the Patreon every month, I will go ahead and start up a new stream every week or every 2 weeks. And we'll be doing online battles with the Patreons and YouTube members. So if that sounds like something interesting, I will link my Patreon in the top of this video and in the description. So check it out. See if you guys have any ideas and other goals I could have. Thank you guys so much for sending in the replays. It's been really awesome casting all these battles, and I really appreciate the watch time as well. My watch time has definitely gone up over the past couple weeks. That's awesome. Watch time is the #1 key statistic. So if you ever want to support the channel, just watch my videos without skipping through, and you'll make a huge difference. So yes, I will see you guys next time, and fish out.